My name is Stacy Posey, and this is my death event for ASL050. I went and saw Eurydice by Pima Community College students at Pima West, directed by Nikki Martinez. And this is my receipt, I mean ticket. Ticket, so pretty. So that I went on Thursday night. Thursday night was ASL interpreter night. So they had ASL interpreters. During the show, I watched the show and I watched interpreters at the same time. I discovered a lot of things because this was my first show of with ASL interpreters there. I've never seen a show with ASL interpreters. Since I am a theater major, I found this very interesting. I noticed that the interpreters couldn't sign until the actors said their lines first. After the play, I did find out by the interpreters that they have to sign after the actor says their line, because unknowing if the actor's going to mess up their line, and at that point, if they did it at the same time, it would be considered performing and not interpreting. I found this very difficult for me because I really wanted to watch the actor's face and look at the interpreter as well. Even though people who are deaf who do use the interpreter probably just look at the interpreter, but I was trying to watch both at the same time. I was at a certain angle where I could, and I couldn't. So that was a really big struggle for me. This play had a lot of blackouts, and blackouts for theater is used for dramatic effect. But it was really hard for the interpreters because if something happened during the blackout, they couldn't sign what was happening because it was a blackout. And a part of me was like, oh, maybe they would keep a light on for the interpreters. They do have a light on when the lights are on. So when the lights come back up, they're quickly signing what just happened. And due to this, there's a lot of confusion. What happened? Because then because usually a blackout, when the blackout then subdues, and that's usually when the actor starts their line. So this is really hard for the interpreter as well, because then once they sign what happened from the blackout, they have to quickly sign what the actor is saying. After the show, they were asking if there was any confusions. There was a lady who was sitting next to my boyfriend and I who was, I believe that I'm not sure if she was deaf or if she was mute, but she did sign, and it seemed like she'd been to many shows before, and they had to explain to her what happened during certain things. There was one scene where Eurydice like fell down something and she ended up screaming, and that was during the blackout, and so they had to explain that. That was very interesting, and it's hard for them as well. Another interesting thing is the interpreters do their best to try to show the emotion that the actor or the actress is portraying. Like, for example, there was 2 interpreters, and each would play the different actor. They both had set characters already, so they weren't like, oh, are you gonna play that one? Are you gonna play that one? Not like that. So they already like established who is who and stuff like that before the play. And one of the interpreters, she played the main character and one of the side characters. It didn't help though that the side character interacted with the main character a lot. Well, not a lot, but once in a while. So like she would be like, like flowers, like all nice because the main character, and then the side character comes in, they're like, so that was a fun change of character. There is a part where that side character, well, technically it's three of them, but they all say the same line at most points. They all had like a stool or something, and they like jabbed it onto the stage. They like boom, and it made me jump every single time. Like you could feel the vibration, but the interpreter, they like I loved how they showed it because she went and like showed it in her arms and her body, and I was just like, oh my god, it was so good. Um, Another thing was the music. Like when they had like gentle music, they went like, and then there was like drops because they were in the underworld, and so like she would go. It was so beautiful. Um, I'm a part of me thinks that they used like agents for some of the names because a part of me feels like I thought I saw them um, sign like the first word for the first letter of their name and then like do an agent um, because during the show a lot they say Eurydice, of course, and unless they sign it very fast, but there are parts where they have to like legitly they spell out her whole name, and so I feel like they didn't. They probably used agents, but I'm not really sure because then there's her husband or Orpheus, I think is his name, or there we are. Yeah, Orpheus. And so like I'm pretty sure they went like O and then agent. Um, because like if they signed it, it would be Orpheus, and I'm just like, whoa, that's a lot. And then for endurance, of course, is Eurydice, and I'm just like, oh my god, that's just way too bad. So I'm like, how the hell did they do this? Um, so yeah, that. What else did I notice? Oh, the interpreters did tell me that they do learn the script, so they do know what is gonna happen next. I'm not sure if they memorize it like the actors do, but I do know that they told me they do learn the script. Um, even though I know it said ASL interpreters, part of me was curious if maybe they used if they did use precisely ASL grammar, and they do. And I found that very interesting because that means that they would have to interpret the whole play in ASL grammar, and because there is some like Greek things they say, I'm just like, how are they going to do this? Um, so a part of me is really curious how theater and movies do this now, since it is becoming a really big thing right recently of having ASL in theater um, and in movies, because since ASL grammar does take away certain words that we use in the English sentences. So um, I feel like this is a very good opportunity for me as a theater major, since it also does show me how there's a gap between the ASL community and the theater community, because as an actress or an actor, you're you're interpreting a world for the audience. And I feel like because the ASL community can't fully develop the whole thing due to the gap of they have to watch the interpreter and not the actor, I feel like the ASL in the theater will really help, and will help the actor probably in memorizing their lines. But I'm not really sure, since due to the, like 2 and 4 and because of ASL grammar. But I think a big thing though is as a theater person, my thing, I really like it when the actor is facing the audience, because I do like to read lips. And I know, I'm not sure if a lot of deaf people do it, but they do, but some do read lips. And if they can't read their lips, then there's a barrier. And of course, that's why the interpreter is there. But I feel like if an actor is signing, then they don't have to worry about it. So all in all, this has broadened my world of theater and the ASL community. So in future projects, in theater, I would like to try to incorporate some ASL stuff. And hopefully trying to one day make the theater community better for the ASL community. So we'll see. Bye. Right. Bye. Not this is hi. Bye.